Our lead story, the alleged CoWin data leak and the centre's defence. The central government has assured that data in the CoWin portal is completely safe. This after reports that personal information of people registered on the vaccination portal has been breached. The government's assurance comes after reports suggested that sensitive personal details such as Aadhaar card, voter ID and passport numbers of vaccinated Indians like you and me were available on the social media platform Telegram by just entering a beneficiary's mobile number. Now, to understand this entire story, my colleague Megha is joining us for more details. And Megha, there are still many unanswered questions. The Minister of State for IT, in a sense, is accepting that there was a data breach, but just not on CoWin. So tell us all about what this alleged breach is and also the government's response.
Well, we have a multi-agency response, as far as the government is concerned. You have the Health Ministry that was using the CoWin app. They have responded. You have a proper press release from the Government of India, detailing every aspect of the story. And you also have, like you said, the Minister of State for IT, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar, who's put out a longest tweet to explain, according to him, what has happened. Now, first, let me take you through the important bits of the press release that the government has issued. And they say that it is, and I'm quoting from the government's response to our questions about this alleged data leak. The government release says that it is clarified that all such reports are without any basis and mischievous in nature. CoWin portal of Health Ministry is completely safe with adequate safeguards for data privacy, and that furthermore the measures are in place to ensure that the CoWin portal is regularly checked for any vulnerability, and that assessment keeps happening. Identity and access management is in place. It also goes on to say that only the OTP authentication-based access of the data is provided. All steps are being taken to ensure security of the data in the CoWin app. So, what they are also harping on the point is that unless you have the OTP and you enter that OTP number, which would come on your mobile, that data cannot really be accessed. But then what we also in the morning is that all you needed to do was to enter a certain mobile number and that corresponding data would be out, whether it was the Aadhaar details or whether it was the passport details. So that did happen. These are unverified screenshots that kept doing the rounds in the morning. You had some politicians also, use that in tweet and attack the government on that. Now, this is as far as the response of the government is concerned. But you do also have an additional input here, which is the MOS IT, Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Now, Mr. Chandrasekhar, very interestingly, Priyanka here says that the data being accessed by bot from a threat actor database, which seems to have been populated with previously breached stolen data from the past, which just means that this actually did happen.
Right.
It happened in the past. When did it happen? We don't know. Was it disclosed by the government? Well, we didn't get to know about it.
Right.
What did the government do about it? We still don't know. But he is, in a way, admitting that it happened in the past, and that is the data which you're actually seeing today float around.
Right, Megha. So several of those concerns for people like us who have our data up there. Thanks very much, Megha, for joining us with those details. But now moving to an important and concerning story coming in from Maharashtra. 5 people have been swept away in Mumbai's famous Juhu beach. 1 person has been rescued while the search is on for 4 others. These were boys in the age group of 12 to 15 years who've been swept away, and the Navy and Coast Guard have also been called in for the rescue operations, but the high tide in the sea is hampering the search operation. Currently, my colleague Sohit Mishra joining us for more on this. And Sohit, take us through what really happened. What were the reasons for this?
Since the search and operation is still going on, we don't actually know what's the reason for these boys to go there in the first place. But what we know is that the time of the incident is around 5:28 p.m., which is in the evening, when it was a high tide, and we saw that the high tide in Mumbai, especially because of the cyclone, is quite high. And at that time, there were 5 boys. Their age group is between 12 to 15. They drowned inside seawater. Now, out of these 5 boys, 1 has been saved by the local fishermen as well as the local people. But the detail we have that even that boy has been saved half a kilometer from the beach. So it shows that they went so inside the sea, that too at the time of the high tide. As of now, the search and rescue operation is going on. 4 children are still missing, and the investigation and the search and operation for the same is going on. The search and operation is in progress with the help of jet ski as well as life jackets are being used. At the same time, divers from both Navy and Coast Guard are also requested to join the entire search and rescue operation. But since this is high tide time, what we can say is that the high tide is hampering the search and rescue operation. But as of now, the search and rescue operation is going on. But this is at a time when we are seeing that the sea is at a very high level, especially in Mumbai as well as other coastal areas. There are lifeguards present everywhere. There are several warnings given. In fact, even the fishermen have been asked to stay away from the sea. But at that time, there are 5 boys at the age group of 12 to 15 who reached at the Juhu Kolivada beach and they drowned over there. One has been saved and the search and rescue operation for the rest 4 is currently going on.
So thanks very much for joining us with those details. All of us hope that these boys make it back home safe. But as we talk about high tides, there's also concerning news as Cyclone Joy has intensified into an extremely severe cyclonic storm, and it is expected to make a landfall in Gujarat's Kutch on the 15th of June. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting to ensure that we are prepared. Unfortunately, one person has died in Gujarat's Rajkot as the cyclonic weather led to a tree falling. My colleague Nayantara joins us for more on this. And Nayantara, tell us about the cyclone's path.
Cyclone Joy has already developed into an extremely severe cyclonic storm. The IMD has said that the cyclone will make landfall on the Saurashtra Kutch coast and likely cross Manvi in Gujarat and Karachi in Pakistan by Thursday noon. Some coastal districts in Gujarat are on high alert, where the weather has already turned rough, and Mumbai too was battered by heavy rain and storm-like winds. Now upon landfall, the cyclone is expected to bring a storm surge, also known as a tidal surge, as high as 2 or 3 meters, which is likely to flood low-lying areas. It's also expected to cause considerable damage to both Kacha and Pakka houses, to standing crops and orchard, and it's also expected to disrupt the railway and power lines in some areas. Wind speeds on Thursday will reach as high as 150 kilometers per hour. Now, Prime Minister Modi has chaired a high-level meet to review the preparedness in the state, where disaster management rooms have been activated. Authorities have already started evacuations in the coastal districts of Gujarat, where they've evacuated about 1,300 people so far, and the government has also declared a holiday for many schools just to be on the safe side. Kandla port has been shut down completely, and fishermen out at sea have also been asked to return to the coast.
And now to the day's big political story. Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra has kicked off the party's campaign for Madhya Pradesh, which is set to vote later this year. Now, maintaining the Congress's soft Hindutva push that we're seeing in MP, Priyanka Gandhi began the campaign with performing the Narmada Puja in Jabalpur. This attracted criticism from the ruling BJP, which said that the Congress only prays before elections to appease voters. Here's our report.
Congress National General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra performing Narmada Dugdhabhishek, Pujan and Aarti of river Narmada at Gwari Ghat before the launch of party's campaign for the MP assembly polls. Hanuman is this giant mace cut out on the route ahead of the visit.
हनुमान जी ने मेकअप लगाया हुआ है और मास्क पहना है तो शायद बोल नहीं पाएंगे, बोलने में दिक्कत हो रही है.
But Congress leaders maintain they don't mix up religion and politics.
नर्मदा जी हमारी आस्था का प्रतीक है, ये हमारी माता है, यहाँ हमारे बुजुर्गों के और फैमिली मेंबर्स का अस्थि विसर्जन होता है, तो यहाँ से अगर हम अपना चुनाव का बिगुल बजाते हैं प्रार्थना के साथ, इससे बड़ी चीज और क्या हो सकती है.
After Narmada Aarti, Priyanka Gandhi garlanded the statue of Rani Durgavati, who attended martyrdom fighting the Mughals. After that, she addressed a huge rally at Shaheed Smarak Maidan, where she targeted Shivraj Singh Chauhan government and announced 5 guarantees if Congress voted to power. 2 days back, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan was also here in Jabalpur to start Ladli Behna Yojana, and the BJP is saying it could be possibly a game changer, as the CM has said that they will not stop by giving 1,000 rupees per month, but it will be gradually increased to 3,000 rupees per month.
और जिस दिन मौका मिल गया 3,000 रुपया ये राशि कर दी जाएगी, हर महीना 3,000.
BJP has also targeted Congress on failed promises.
प्रियंका जी मध्य प्रदेश में आई हैं फिर चुनावी छलावा करने के लिए. 5 साल पहले उनके भाई भी आए थे. चुनाव के वक्त ही नेहरू परिवार को जनता याद आती है और भगवान याद आते हैं.
In the last assembly polls in Mahakaushal, Congress won 24 out of 30 seats while the BJP managed to win 6. The party also won 11 of the 13 scheduled tribe reserved seats in the 8 district division, while the BJP got the remaining 2. With wins in Mahakaushal in 2018, Congress was able to form the government under the leadership of Kamal Nath, though it fell in March 2020 when MLAs loyalists to Jyotiraditya Scindia walked out and joined the BJP. With Sanjeev Chaudhary and camera person Rizwan Khan in Jabalpur, Anurag Bari for NDTV.
And from the politics in Madhya Pradesh, let's go across to the politics in Maharashtra. The opposition there is hitting out at the government over a clash between the police and the Varkari devotees during a religious procession that happened in Pune yesterday. Now, the incident took place after an argument with the police over entry into the temple. But the opposition has hit out at the ruling government, saying that on one side, the BJP appeases Hindu voters, but on the other side, Hindu devotees are being lathi charged in their state. The government, though, has denied claims of any lathi charge. Here's our report.
Police action against Varkari devotees on Sunday has become a big political flashpoint in Maharashtra. Devotees had gathered at the Sant Dhaneshwar Maharaj Samadhi temple in Alandi town of Pune for the annual Ashadi Ekadashi pilgrimage to Pandharpur that starts from there. Police claimed they had to use lathis to control the crowd. They say hundreds of Varkaris were trying to enter the temple, where 75 are only allowed at a time. Hitting out at the police action, opposition leaders alleged that Varkari devotees were lathi charged for the first time in centuries.
दर वर्षी त्यांचा नियमन केला जातो. झाले असेल गर्दी, पण अशा वेळेला तिथल्या पोलीस अधिकाऱ्यांचं काम होतं त्या सगळ्यांना जे आहे लाईनीमध्ये उभं करणं, एका बाजूने जाऊन दुसऱ्या बाजूने ताबडतोब हे सगळ्या गोष्टी त्यांनी करायच्या ऐवजी लाठीचार्ज वगैरे तर मला असेल समस्त वारकऱ्यांचा अपमान आहे.
Responding to the allegations, Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said the police did not lathi charge Varkari pilgrims and only acted to bring the situation under control.
पहिली गोष्ट तर लाठीचार्ज झालेला नाही, मात्र तिथे थोडी बाचाबाची किंवा झटापट झाली आहे. त्या संदर्भातली खरी वस्तुस्थिती अशी आहे की मागील वर्षी त्या ठिकाणी स्टॅम्पिड सारखी स्थिती झाली आणि चेंगराचेंगरी झाल्यामुळे महिला देखील जखमी झाल्या होत्या. 75 पासेस हे त्या ठिकाणी मानाच्या ज्या दिंड्या आहेत त्यांना पहिल्यांदा उपलब्ध करून द्यावे आणि त्यांना त्या ठिकाणी आत सोडावं, जेणेकरून मागच्या वर्षीसारखी चेंगराचेंगरी होणार नाही.
For centuries, Varkari Samaj pilgrims start their wari from Juhu and Alandi, from where pilgrims go to Pandharpur, carrying the padukas of Saint Tukaram and Saint Dhaneshwar. Lakhs of people from all castes participate in this wari. The police action to control crowds at such a significant occasion is now being questioned. In Mumbai with Sohit Mishra, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
The other big story, the Wrestling Federation of India elections will be held on the 4th of July. Now, this comes as there's been pressure to conduct fresh elections since the former Wrestling Federation of India chief, Brij Bhushan Sharan, who's also a BJP MP, is facing sexual harassment allegations. And the country's top wrestlers have been protesting, demanding his arrest. The wrestlers have also demanded that people connected to Brij Bhushan Sharan should not be allowed to contest the Wrestling Federation of India elections and that the next head of the WFI should be a woman. And these demands were accepted by the government in a meeting that happened last week between the protesting wrestlers and the Union Sports Minister Anurag Thakur. And farmer leaders from Haryana today blocked the Delhi-Chandigarh National Highway, demanding the Haryana government to procure their sunflower produce at the minimum support price, or MSP, that has been guaranteed by the centre. Now, even though the government has announced an MSP of 6,400 rupees per quintal for sunflower crop for 2022-23, and that has in fact been increased to 6,760 per quintal for 2023-24, the Haryana government has refused to procure these crops at MSP. The Chief Minister, Mr. Khattar, says that these crops, some of them are smuggled from other states and they are sold in Haryana, and that's why we can't assure MSP for all of them. Now, because of all of this, the farmers say they have been forced to sell their produce at 4,000 rupees per quintal to private players. They have now given the state government an ultimatum till the 31st of July to ensure MSP, and they are still sitting on Delhi's borders. There has also been a big revelation in the death of IIT Kharagpur student Faizan Ahmed that happened in October last year. Now, the second post-mortem report suggests that his death was because of homicide and not because of suicide, as the college authorities had suggested earlier. Now, this comes after Faizan's family alleged that he had been murdered. Take a look at what happened.
The second post-mortem on deceased IIT Kharagpur student's body, Faizan Ahmed, refers to injuries sustained before death, which were homicidal in nature, sources have told NDTV. This report gives weight to Faizan Ahmed's family's allegations of murder and a cover-up.
उन लोगों को पता था मेरा बेटा को मारा गया है. उन लोगों ने जिसने भी मारा पूरा सोच समझ के प्लानिंग करके मर्डर किया है. ये फुल प्रूफ मर्डर किया है उन लोगों ने.
Faizan Ahmed's parents had filed a petition in the Calcutta High Court saying he was murdered after IIT Kharagpur had said Faizan Ahmed's death was by suicide. The Calcutta High Court had ordered exhumation of Faizan's body and a second post-mortem by a court-appointed expert. Earlier, the court-appointed expert had punched holes into the first post-mortem done after his death at IIT Kharagpur.
Murder हुआ है, suicide नहीं. इसको मुझे दिल में तसल्ली हुआ है कि मेरा बेटा के ऊपर में IIT खड़गपुर वाला ने जो इल्जाम लगाया रहा वो मैं हटा पाया.
Faizan Ahmed's body was exhumed last month and brought to Kolkata for a second post-mortem. The viscera remains have been sent to the Central Forensic Laboratory for further examination. Earlier, the Calcutta High Court had come down heavily on IIT Kharagpur for its poor handling of the case. The matter will be heard again later this week. IIT Kharagpur has not responded to these developments yet. However, there are still a lot of unanswered questions in this case which are likely to come up during the next hearing. The devastated family says they will continue their fight for justice. With camera person GD Shankar, in Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And now to news that concerns Delhiites. You won't be able to take bike taxis such as Rapido and Uber bikes for now, as the Supreme Court has revived the Delhi government's ban on these taxis. Now, the top court has stayed a Delhi High Court order that allowed these bike taxis to operate till the Delhi government comes up with a policy on two-wheeler commercial vehicles. But what's really the problem here? Why is the Delhi government banning these bike taxis? The Delhi government says that they will come up with a policy by the 31st of July, as they contend that currently these bike taxis operate without any valid permits and that the use of two-wheelers for commercial purposes is in violation of the Motor Vehicles Act of 1988. And now some good news for the economy. India's retail inflation rate has fallen to a two-year low. Retail inflation has fallen to 4.25% in the month of May, which is the lowest in 25 months. And it has fallen from 4.7% in the month of April. Now, with this, India's retail inflation has been below the Reserve Bank of India's 6% upper threshold for the third straight month. But why is the inflation rate falling? Well, two primary reasons. The drop in the inflation rate is primarily driven by falling food prices and energy prices as well. Why are they falling? Because the effect of the Ukraine war on global prices is now gradually waning. Last year, in fact, we saw that inflation was majorly above the Reserve Bank's 6% threshold because global prices were rising as a result of the Russia-Ukraine war. But now that effect is waning, so we're seeing easing food and fuel prices in India as well. Well, fuel inflation has fallen to 3% from 4.2% in the month of April, while food inflation has fallen to 2.9% from 3.84% in April. Rural inflation is at 4.7%, while urban inflation is at 4.8%.